Welcome to GTN's Hour of Power. And today I've got a great little brick session for you, going from bike to run, that will have you done and dusted within 60 minutes. Right, as the name suggests, this one is all about power. So if you're after an easy session today, well, I'm afraid this one's probably not for you, because this is a real time efficient, bang for your buck kind of session with a real focus on top end power, which has a benefit for all distances of triathlon. Now you notice behind me I've got a turbo trainer and a treadmill. So I'm going to be performing today's brick session indoors, but you can of course do it outdoors or a mix of both. And quite often I'd actually start off indoors on the turbo trainer and then run off outdoors. So do whatever you're happiest with. Now in terms of brick session, if this is something that's new to you, well, the idea is that you're running straight off of the bike, as you would in a triathlon or a duathlon. So that means having your running trainers out and perhaps even a change of clothes, so we have a real slick transition as you would do during a race. Now in terms of the session, well, let's run you through it. So we're going to start off on the bike with 6 minutes in zone 2 for your warm-up, and then we're moving into 5 minutes continuous as 10 seconds maximal sprint straight into 50 seconds easy spin. And then we're going to do 5 minutes at zone 2, a recovery spin with a nice high cadence, and then into 3 lots of 4 minutes at your functional threshold power with 6 minutes zone 2 between. And then after that final 4 minutes, we're going to jump straight off the bike and into the run. And we're going to start off with 3 minutes steady jog just to find your feet to start off with, so a nice comfortable pace. And then we're going to go into 5 minutes where we're building our pace each minute from around a marathon pace up to a really fast 5-kilometer race pace for the final minute. And then 2 minutes easy jog, and then the same thing again, 5 minutes building the pace each minute from marathon pace up to 5K race pace by the final minute. And then we're going to finish with a 5-minute easy jog to cool down. Okay, so just before I touch very briefly on some of the equipment that you'll need during the brick session, but whilst I'm doing this 6-minute bike warm-up, I thought I'd run through that in a little bit more detail. So on the bike, you will obviously need your bike, no surprises there. But if you are doing it indoors, you're probably going to want to have a towel to hand just so you can catch the sweat off yourself, or maybe even drape over your bike so that it catches the sweat, stops it from going over your lovely frame. With that in mind, you may even want a fan in front of you on the bike, and perhaps even on the run if you're doing both indoors, and having some hydration and fuel to hand is very important. Now personally for the run, I quite like to just do this in my bib shorts. I'm very happy with that, but I do like to change my top half just because I'm not the biggest fan of my bike jersey ending up like a crop top whilst I run. But you may want to change your bottom half too, so just have some shorts at the ready to slip on, and then also obviously have those run shoes ready and raring to go.
Some of you may well have done the math already, but this works out as a short and punchy 40-minute bike into a 20-minute run-off. But what's the deal with these sprints? Well, the sprints require a large force through the pedals that in turn increases our neuromuscular recruitment, which is good because they also prepare us for the FTP intervals ahead.
Right, so I'm about to go into my final 2 minutes of my 10 seconds on, 50 seconds off. Now 10 seconds should be an all-out maximum effort, and feel free to get up out of the saddle for this and really sprint to your heart's content, or if you like, just sit down in the saddle and try and lay down the power as best as possible. But before you know it, you'll be into that 50 seconds easy. It's only 10 seconds at the end of the day. Right, 3, 2, 1, let's go. And there we go. Go back down to an easier gear, spin those legs out for 50 seconds, and we're going again one more time. Whew. All right, 3, 2, 1, final 10 seconds. All out effort, 2, 1. Easy gear, 50 second spin, and then we're also into our 5 minutes zone 2.
Yeah, Okay, they are surprisingly hard, but despite the effort, you'll likely surprise yourself with how well you ride for the FTP intervals. Now, if you're wondering what on earth functional threshold power, or FTP, is, well, it is commonly defined as the highest average power that you can sustain for an hour. It can be measured by power or even by heart rate. Now, the best way to find these values out is to perform a 20-minute FTP test, in which you record either or both your average power and heart rates. Your FTP is actually the point at which your body starts to produce lactic acid at such a rate that it can't keep up with the process of removing it. Therefore, if we can bump that level up, we will ultimately ride better and faster. And one of the best ways of doing that is by riding at it for a sustained period of time, as we are in this session.
Okay, coming to the end of my final 4-minute FTP block, and I'm actually going to get straight out of my bike shoes whilst on the bike, a proper triathlon transition, and then straight onto the run. So just got a few seconds left. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Nice and slick. All right, and as I mentioned, we'll start off with a 3-minute jog, just a chance to find your feet. A bit unlike, I guess, a real triathlon race, but I'm being nice to you today because it is a hard session. So get your shoes on really quick, as I'm doing now. Don't want to waste any time, want to make this as realistic as possible, and maybe get changed, which you probably won't want to watch. Okay, so one of the first things you probably notice when you're running off the bike, particularly a hard bike, is that jelly leg feeling. Your legs just feel so heavy and out of control almost. And I'm afraid to say that never really goes, no matter how seasoned you are in triathlon. But what you can do is get better at dealing with it, which is exactly what we're doing today. By doing a brick session, we're learning how to cope with that feeling and actually how to push through that. So in this session, we're going to build through the pace in the 2 5-minute blocks, and hopefully you'll be a better triathlete because of it. Okay, so as I come to the end of my 3-minute block there and about to start the session, hopefully that's been an opportunity for you to get the feeling back in your legs a little bit. Now we're going to go into these 2 lots of 5-minute blocks, starting at marathon pace, finishing at around 5k race pace. Now I've gone for marathon pace and 5k pace rather than zones, just because this is an opportunity for you to freestyle and experiment a little. So marathon pace for some people may actually be very similar to their steady run pace, or just a fraction higher. I'm going to start at somewhere around 15k an hour, and I'm going to knock it up about 1 kilometre per hour each minute. So just think about that marathon pace that you have in mind and your 5k race pace, and try and go up in increments each minute. So I've got a few seconds left. I'm going to start bumping the pace up. Okay, 15k an hour for me for my first minute. Now try and stay tall whilst you're doing this. It's very easy to start slumping down, almost like you're sat in a seat when you come off a hard bike session. So try and think about your form and staying nice and tall. Okay, so into my final minute of the 5-minute blocks here. So really shifting some now, going some pace. And this is quite an important part of the session because our legs are quite fatigued from everything we've just done on the bike and the run. But we're asking them to turn over quickly, quick contact time on the ground. And that's important because as we do fatigue, our go-to is to have a slower contact time on the ground, to sit down into that stride that I mentioned before. So really focus on being quick and light on the feet as we bump the speed up.
Now, as you finish that first 5-minute block, drop that speed back down to an easy pace, but make sure you keep moving. This is actually going to help recovery by flushing your body out. And then we're back onto it again with the same 5-minute build block.
Well, there we go. That is our hour of power brick session there, and it seriously is an hour of power. Really hitting some big numbers, both on the bike and the run. You may be thinking, how is this useful if I'm training for a 70.3 or Ironman? Well, it really is, because what you're doing here on the bike and the run is you're tapping into those higher powers, higher run speeds, that's in turn going to increase your functional threshold power and increase your overall run speed. And not to mention, actually, the amount of stress and fatigue that you're placing on your body just in this hour session here can emulate that of actually a longer session. So a really time efficient session, real bang for your buck that you can squeeze in around family and work. So I hope you have enjoyed that. Do give us a thumbs up button if you have. Probably isn't that enjoyable, I will add. But if you would like to subscribe to GTN and get more videos like this and other sessions, you can click on the globe and subscribe. If you'd like to find out why indoor cycling on a turbo trainer can be so hard, you can see that video by clicking just down here. And if you'd like to find out how to increase your run speed using 3 tips, you can see that by clicking just down here.